The Midday Mix on Mix 93.8.
It's Blackfoot with Train 24 minutes to 12. And as promised, we have Mr. Christian Steyn in studio with us from STEYN IP. Christian, welcome back. It's been a while, man.
No, well, good to see you again.
Yeah, and yourself, sir. Growing out the hair.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to remember, it was kind of slicked back last time I saw it, but it seems considerably longer this time.
It's considerably longer. It was slicked back, black, but I thought it's time to get back to the way I was years ago with long hair.
Alrighty.
So.
Very interesting times in the world, especially with this Ukraine-Russia conflict that's going on.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's dominating the headlines. One thing that's really dominated the headlines in the last couple of weeks is relating to copyright and trademarks and the way Russia's dealing with it. And as an intellectual property lawyer, I mean, you must have been jumping up and down in your seat.
Well, it was definitely interesting, if we can put it like that. I'm sure a lot of people or everyone knows about the Russian issues and the sanctions most of the Western world had against them. And in answer, one of the things that Russia did is that they said, well, we won't enforce or actually recognize any foreign IP from, they call them not friends of Russia. Not friends of Russia. That's what it comes down to. And the intention behind it, what we assume, was to make sure they've got access to the essentials, medicine, things like that. But it went haywire where filings of fake McDonald's and fake Coke and everything went in.
Yeah.
And there was a recent case law in it. Well, it was a lower court, but they actually upheld the fake McDonald's trademark.
That is incredible.
It looks exactly like the
but
McDonald's,
it's turned
on its side. Yes.
Yeah.
And same colors, everything.
And this was obviously on the back of all, like you say, these sanctions happening where companies were pulling out of their operations in Russia. I mean, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, there was like a whole ton of them that decided to pull out.
Yeah.
In terms of what they offer and these products, you say these are counterfeit products?
Well, it wouldn't be counterfeit. It's... The counterfeit and trademark infringement is very closely related. Vastly different, but closely related. In this instance, it's not McDonald's. It is clearly the other company.
It's a very fancy Russian name that we can't pronounce.
It's a fancy Russian name. But the fact is the trademarks are infringed, and it's offering the same goods, takeaway meals, under a brand similar or identical to a well-known international brand. And it wasn't, like you said, it's McDonald's, but it was things like Peppa Pig. I mean, everybody with a kid knows Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
Peppa Pig, which is a multi-million-pound industry, copyright, patents, trademarks, everything surrounding that Peppa Pig franchise has been infringed a lot in Russia, and there you would see counterfeit goods, counterfeit dolls.
Because there's a bit of a difference there, where I suppose he's providing a service versus an actual product. Yeah, yes. Because it also gets probably a bit more intricate when you think of things like McDonald's, because it's a name and it's a franchise and it exists, these brick and mortar buildings. But a lot of these companies also have their own kind of industry that supplies all of the sauces and the patties and the buns and all of these things. So after all of this has happened, and I mean, it's been put out on the world stage for all these companies to see, is there any kind of recourse that can come from this? I mean, it seems like Russia's a state on their own right now.
Well, I'm actually scared of just thinking of what might happen. Ideally, seeing that this was a lower court in Russia, hopefully the higher courts might have a different view.
Yeah.
But personal opinion, not likely. I think Russia is going the way of South Korea, where they just feel like listen here, the hell with the rest of the world. We will do what we want and we don't care about your rights. And again, this is just my personal opinion, so please don't quote me on this. But I just feel, considering what's going on and considering all the other international laws they just don't give a damn about, including human rights.
Yeah. Trade is like right there at the bottom.
Yeah, and this is a financial thing. So I don't think, honestly, in Russia, at least for the time being, brand owners won't really have recourse. But again, they completely withdrew. But that's a very unique situation. It's in a war-torn country where they just decided, we don't care about the rest of the world, we will go our own way. generally throughout the world, if you have international trademark rights, and with international I mean rights in that specific country, because remember IP is territorial, you would have recourse similar to what you would have here in South Africa. And so that's an isolated incident. It's very interesting, but if anything, that shows you how vulnerable and valuable international IP is for you as a South African company. So, it's even though it's way haywire there,
it's a case study for what can happen.
Can happen. Yeah.
Do you think that in future brands are going to be a little more put a bit more thought into whether or not they're going back into the territories that this has happened in?
I'm sure they will. Both on a financial aspect, your business at the end of the day is to make money, but also what will the world think of you going back into Russia and essentially aligning your brand again with a country like that? And that's I think that any brand should consider, irrespective of you're big or small. Do you want to associate your brand with not only Russia, any company or country, that has
that kind of record,
questionable morals?
It's very interesting, and like you say, I think it is quite an isolated thing. It's not something that's going to be, taking place all over the world, but it does show how fragile these kind of agreements are.
Yes.
I mean, in terms of trade, we've seen it in terms of, the larger organizations like the UN. A very interesting time, I think, legally, all over the world, and especially for, like we say here, in terms of your patents and your trademarks and copyrights and all of those kind of things, where you might have thought it was rock solid, and then this kind of thing happens. So you guys haven't only been busy kind of mulling this stuff over. There's also a bit of music on the way, right?
Oh, yes. Our firm is very passionate about local artists and South African musicians in particular. So we are hosting a show in Pretoria at the Afriforum Theatre, right next to Capital Craft, for the guys that don't know where it is. Capital Craft, right next door. There's a very nice theatre. And we're hosting Albert Frost is the main act, with Midday, Bianca Blanc, and Tiana Ninoba. All names I'm sure most of the listeners are well known, acquainted with. And it's tomorrow evening. It starts 6 o'clock, and still we wanted to end because, like we say, it's next to Capital Craft.
For sure. Ideally placed.
And the tickets are still available. It's 150 Rand a person, which is
pretty
cheap.
Fair for such a great lineup.
And we got a very nice involvement from some very close friends of ours, and we got a keg of, I can't say, I can, it's a band name, Pukov Polisikar beer. That's there, so we'll give you a cup and you just fill up. And there's going to be food, and afterwards we head over to Capital Craft, also very good friends of the firm, and just have a jam of it. So hope to see you guys there, and we've got tickets to give away. Yes,
some free tickets. So we got 2 sets of double tickets to give away to tomorrow night's event. What I need from you is just your name, surname, and your email address, because these are going to be sent to you digitally if you'd like to join. On that lineup tomorrow, we've got Albert Frost, Tiani Number. We've got a very, very special name here, one that you must be very familiar with. Bianca Blanc and Midday is happening in Pretoria tomorrow from 6 p.m. Beer and food available. Like I said, get your entries in now. All you need to send us is your name, your surname, and your email address. We'll get into contact with you because those will be sent to you digitally. And Christian, thanks for coming through. It's been a really interesting chat regarding this Russia business. I mean, it's pretty much all over the news. It's pretty much anything and everyone's reading about now. But it's nice to sometimes delve a little bit deeper and see, these things can happen here. It seems very far away, but these agreements, can be broken pretty much anywhere in the world. If you want some more information, obviously, you guys deal with IP a lot.
Yes.
How do we get in contact with you?
Well, STEYNIP.com.
Nice and easy, STEYNIP.com.
Just find us on social media at STEYNIP. And we look, international IP, that we deal with that, and we can ensure that stuff like that, said for war, protect a brand internationally as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming through. It was lucky to catch up again. You have a great weekend, and good luck for tomorrow's show.
No, thank you.
The Midday Mix on Mix 93.8.